Well, big welcome to John Sunday for what is it? Week 1 of the 38th season. We're into 2022, John.
We certainly are. And more importantly, we're into season 38. And who would have thought way back in 1985, Harry Scott came up with this idea. Daylight saving had just been introduced in New South Wales, and daylight, and let's have a race we did on some evenings because track was a very big thing back then. It was track in the summer, it was road winter, and there was a track racing over Wednesdays, Georgia on Thursday, somewhere else on Monday. We came up with this idea of Tuesday night, and 38 years later, it lives on.
Okay, John, let's go to what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to start off by talking about a UCI rider that came to Heffron Park on the Tuesday. Then we're going to talk about the actual results finalising Tuesday. We're going to talk across the line and how it paired out with the gaps. Then we're going to have a few perspectives on a couple of riders here or there. And then we're going to wrap it up and talk about next week's Heffron. Let's start with Dan Bonello. Dan came to town, and why was it? He's no special rider for Tuesday night, but he was this week because it was his first big race back since the World Championships, John.
Yeah, well, as I suggested on Tuesday night, I'm convinced he used the World Road Race as a warm-up for Tuesday night Heffron. In fact, he had 2 warm-up races, didn't he, at the World Championships? He had the time trial, which he managed to sit in the hot seat for a few minutes.
Yeah, and, absolutely superb that was. He nailed down the fast. He was the first rider off. He didn't get caught. He got to race to the hot seat, sat down, and he was there for a good 30 seconds before Lucas Platt came in. And he immediately got bumped to second, and probably 30 seconds after that, got bumped to third and fourth and off the podium. But it was a great ride. And when I spoke to him at Heffron Park, he said the right words. He said, the second biggest thing I've done in cycling. What was the biggest? He won a Tuesday night once.
Well, we all know the old saying, don't we, Crafty?
Yeah. On the first Sunday, he completed the time trial brilliantly. And then on the second Sunday, John, that was the big one.
Oh, it certainly was. And once again, what an amazing ride. Not content just to sit in the main group, but had a go and wave the Maltese the kit, which was fantastic.
Yeah, he was up there with the Vatican City kit as well. They were both away at one stage at different breaks, but he rode so superbly. But John, I want you to have a look at this next photo, and it's taken at the Fraternity Club, which was the Italian corner. This is on the flat. Look at the crowd, and then look who is bang in the middle there.
Yeah, it's our man. It's our man Welt.
Yeah,
and Bond.
Yeah, Dan Bonello right there, the pool cleaner himself. He doesn't look out of place, does he?
Not at all. And spot the difference. There is no difference. There's absolutely no difference at all. I think he's got a new calling.
So congratulations, Dan Bonello. Now let's move on to bigger things, and that is Tuesday night. Here's the graded results in your placing where you are in your grade. Across the line, you can see the podium there. Winner was Ben Glastonbury, the winner of C grade, a newcomer, Benny Coates. We'll be talking about him in a minute. Female, no surprise there, Gina Ricciardo. She was 16th across the line. We'll see that in a second. And A grade, Jack Bennett picks up where he kind of left off last year. Any big surprises or anything? That podium, Benny Glastonbury, how'd he do it?
Well, he's big and strong, which is why they call him Big Ben. He certainly held off a very fast finishing Rowley in normal circumstances. I guess you'd expect Rowley to just time it perfectly, but he didn't. Benny got his nose in front. I guess the big surprise of the night was the fact that B grade stayed away and got up for the overall honours. And I think part of that was that they caught C grade very early with 6 to go. Yeah, and I think that gave them a lot of belief and momentum. And the other thing I noticed about B grade
I'll hold you up on that, because normally normally when B grade think they're going to win, that's when they lose it. They just go, we're going to win it, and it shuts down. On Tuesday, they got the sniff of the win, and somehow they kept it going.
Well, I think that's a bit, that had a little bit of that had to do with the conditions, but I was going to add that I think one of the biggest factors, there's enough horsepower. Normally, there's only less than a handful that are prepared to put the hard yards in, but I think there was most probably 10 or 12 riders in that field of 33, 34 riders on Tuesday night were prepared to have a go. And you can see the firepower just in that photo there. Don't know whether I'd include Chris Tune in the word firepower, but once again, he's never far from the pointy end when it comes to the finish. But in the orange jersey there in the middle is Matt Warner-Smith. So there's a story. Matt Warner-Smith is his first race back at Heffron in 4 years. And he's really keen to get back to racing now that his family's growing.
And Benny Glassbury, just right.
Yeah, well, it was his horsepower. He just got on top of the gear and he just held everybody. And managed to hold everybody off to the line, which was a nice surprise.
Camilo.
They deserve that. They deserve that win on Tuesday night, big time.
They did indeed. Camilo Garcia, that was a good, impressive sprint as well. As you go along, we'll see the gaps.
Yeah, just on Camilo, for a guy that spends more time taking photographs when he's out cycling, clearly he's been doing some training at the same time. So that was a very impressive finish. I also want a bit of a shout out to Reece Williams, Mr. NRL there, in the top 5. Great result for him.
Excellent. You can see the Jack Bennett group. There's Mark Rowling, then Benny Drewhurst, Barry Morad led home the Jack Bennett, but have a look, Alex Naz in there in 3rd for the A graders. We'll talk about him in a minute.
I just wanted to say, with that A grade finish, if you looked at the first race we had the last year, it was won by A grade, and it was won by Tom Bolton. In fact, I think from memory, Tom won the first 2 or 3 races last year. Jack couldn't get near him. So surprisingly, Jack's kind of got one back on him. And what's also surprising about that is Jack hasn't come into the beginning of the season with his normal good form. Still trying to get rid of all the pasta and tiramisu that he ate in Europe.
I've just highlighted a rider. Can you see Arlen?
Arlen,
Vazarian. Just Vazarian, mate. Like vegetarian. Yeah. First time in A grade.
Was his first race on a Tuesday night. And had a quick chat to Arlen after the race to see how he found it. And to use his own words, he was comfortable, but he reckons he's got to grow a pair of big ones just to get through the corners. And I think that must probably is what let him down.
Arlen should ride B grade. He'll get a win in B grade and then go to A grade because you know the way it works at Heffron. Let's move it on and have a bit of a chat about individuals. First off, Alex Naz. How good was he? Welcome back, Alex.
Yeah, Naz, top 3. But then again, once A grade get to the finish, and if Naz has got a sniff of the finish, he's going to go for it.
Yeah, look, he was. I was really impressed. He did a lot of turns, and he was at the pointy end. This dude,
first ride on a Tuesday night at Heffron since 1995. So quite a while between drinks for Rupert Guinness.
This dude, first race in C grade on a Tuesday night, and it's Ben Coates.
It is. I think Ben Coates has been itching to get a start on a Tuesday night for about 3 or 4 years. And it's just great that he's now just old enough to line up for his first race. He handled it really well, as we expected him to do so. But what was impressive was the way he managed to win the grade.
Yeah, he won the grade and won it impressively. He's gonna hate this. He's gonna hate this, but I'm gonna say he's done it wrong in C grade. You can see right here, they're in the gutter. The wind is coming from their left shoulder, but the young young ones with just that start of testosterone coming into their body. They get to the front, and a couple of the other, Galtman was one of them as well, and they hit it hard. And what ends up happening is your C graders get busted, and they don't want to work with these strong guys like Ben Coates. And that's one of the reasons C grade got hammered.
Yeah, because it was a bit on off, and someone does a hard turn, and then they wonder why no one can roll through, because they were going too hard. And softly, smoothly is actually faster.
You got to look after everybody in those grades, especially C grade, and encourage them to pull turns when it's not that hard. Let's move on. And on the hill, what was going on the hill at Tuesday?
Well, Vaughan's obviously been kicked out of home. He's got all his possessions in his van, and that's
it's a little bit like the cricket, isn't it? It's the hill on the cricket.
What a great initiative from Vaughan McVilly. And Vaughan's going to be parked up on the hill every Tuesday night making a noise.
Now, this photo, John, every week I see you taking a photo of the podium. I thought you were taking a photo of the podium. You're not.
I did.
No,
but,
look.
I got very nervous. I got very nervous about the guy standing behind me with the big lens. And so I just wanted to see what was going on.
No, you're just taking photos of yourself. Look, John, next week's Heffron, it's going to rain this weekend. Well, that's the prediction, but next week it looks all right.
It does. So it's clear on Monday, and some light showers maybe along the coast in the morning, as it says there. And I think next Tuesday we'll get week 2 in, no problem.
Great. So 0.2 of the millimeter, that's not going to bother anybody. If this is right, they don't know what's going on. Anything you want to add before we wrap up, John?
Oh, just stay tuned to the Heffron Tuesday Night Heffron Park page on Facebook, because if there are, just as a note for future races, if there are any updates to be made, that's where you hear it first. And if the weather is looking dodgy, we'll always make the call by 3 o'clock.
John, you want to talk about Buncher? That's the way to enter.
Well, online entries via Buncher are so simple and so straightforward. And 98% of everybody that raced on Tuesday night was able to do that. So, guys, if you're going to race, get onto Buncher. Don't be in the 2%.
In fact, I saw that some of the people that turned up on the day, you actually directed it in Buncher anyway. So you might.
Yeah, and in fact, on Tuesday night, we're going to have a Q code pinned on the wall. So if you don't want to log onto your phone, you just scan the Q code. It'll take you direct to the entry, and you do the rest.
Well, on behalf of John Sunde and myself, Paul Craft, see you next Tuesday.
Look forward to it, Crafty.
Cheers, mate.